Pharmacist or doctor, what's the difference? You need to know. Some of my best friends are doctors. I see them every day, they come down every day, and I know where I start and where they end. And that's the reason why we get along so well. Doctors go to 4 years of medical school, they do their internship, then they do their fellowship. It takes a long time and it costs a lot of money. Pharmacists now go 8 years. 4 years they're undergrad, and they go to pharmacy school for 4 years as well. Doctors are in medical school. They take somewhere between 50 and 60 hours of pharmacology. Pharmacists take 153. And that's because doctors have to learn so many other things. I don't diagnose. That's a big difference. You have to tell me what's wrong with you. Tell me what's wrong with you. I can tell you 17 options of what to treat with. Also, doctors do procedures. Pharmacists don't do procedures. But because we don't do all that other stuff, we've got super specialized in knowing medications and options. If you tell me what's wrong with you, I know what you treat it with. I can't tell you what's wrong with you. That's up to you and your doctor. Doctors have a lot on their plates. That's the reason why we have good doctors, good nurses, which we should talk about as well, and then pharmacists. The best team are the ones where we overlap, each of us taking our own job.
Hey, what is up, everybody? Thank you for tuning into the channel. If you're new here, my name is Michael Agbana, and I am a pharmacist that is starting medical school in less than 2 weeks. And so I'm super excited about that. In this episode, I'm just gonna answer the question that everybody's asking, or if they haven't asked me yet, they're at least wondering, why are you leaving pharmacy to become a doctor? So I'm just gonna quickly answer that. Won't take too long, but I wanna let you know, hey, if you wanna follow this journey, subscribe to the channel. I'm gonna try my best to bring you guys on this kind of unique path from pharmacist to physician. But the question is, why leave pharmacy to become a doctor? And so for me personally, I just want to preface it by saying that I absolutely loved pharmacy school. I loved working as a pharmacist. I loved in pharmacy school learning about the chemical structures and learning how the medications worked in the body to treat different disease states and stuff. I just found it so fascinating. Medications are interesting. They are essentially chemical formulations, or if they're newer, like biological formulations that mimic what happens in the body naturally. So a good example is there's a popular diabetes drug and weight loss drug called Ozempic and Wegovy. And if you've probably heard about that before, someone that you know is on it, I'm sure. But that's the brand name. The generic name is called semaglutide. So semaglutide actually mimics a molecule that's already in our body that is released every time we eat food, and that's called glucagon-like peptide 1. And so it's GLP-1 for short. And so semaglutide it literally mimics the same exact thing. So what they do is they create a molecule that's very similar, and then they add modifications to it to make it last longer in the body, so that it can last longer than 30 minutes, So that's why, if you know about Ozempic, you take the injection once a week instead of taking it once a day or every couple hours. That's because they added modifications to it. So I just think that that's cool, learning how that stuff works and why they do what they do, and I thought that was amazing. And so I enjoyed that. I enjoyed learning about the drugs. And when I became a pharmacist, I was a retail pharmacist. And so when you're a retail pharmacist, you're pretty much the first and most easily accessible healthcare professional that there is. Whenever you go to CVS or Walgreens, the pharmacist is right there. You can talk to them. And so people take advantage of that, I promise you. They love talking to the pharmacist and asking them a bunch of questions. And honestly, as a pharmacist, you have to know a lot. People will come to you asking all types of crazy things. Look at this rash on my arm. What do I do? And so you kind of have to know your stuff and know how to, direct people or what to advise people to get over the counter, stuff like that. And so I enjoyed that part of talking to patients all the time and being able to be that type of resource for them. I guess the thing that made me begin to feel like I wanted to become a doctor, it happened in when I was in pharmacy school, but then also like when I was practicing as a pharmacist. There was a lot of times where I felt like unfulfilled with how involved I could be with a patient's treatment. And so obviously as a pharmacist, we don't prescribe, we don't diagnose, we can't do procedures or anything. So we just focus on the pharmacotherapy, like the drugs, the medications. But sometimes, like even when I was learning certain disease states in school and when I became a pharmacist, there's a lot of times where medications aren't enough or that's not the only solution. And then at that point, you either need another intervention or patients need like a procedure done or surgery. And I just felt like I wanted that level of involvement in the patient's health care treatment plan, you know? And so not everybody feels like that as a pharmacist, but for me, that's how I felt. Like I felt like I wanted to know how to diagnose. I wanted to be able to prescribe the medication I felt was appropriate for the patient. And then like worst case scenario, I wanted to be able to perform procedures. If they needed a surgery or procedure done, I would want to be able to know how to do that, to like be trained to do it, to, you know, get the expertise and then to be certified to do that type of stuff. So anyways, obviously as a pharmacist, you can't do that. So the only thing I could do was to go to medical school, which is what I'm starting in 2 weeks, to become a doctor. A lot of people are probably like, man, that's a lot of schooling. Yeah, it is a lot. It's also a lot of money. I have pharmacy school loans and I'm gonna have to pay for medical school too. So that's a lot of money investing into this. And I am aware of that, obviously. But one of the things that I thought about, you know, if I want a 40-year work career, right? I thought about it. Could I see myself as a pharmacist for the next 40, 50 years? Or could I see myself working as a physician? And when I thought about it, I was like, I can see myself working as a physician. And that's ended up ultimately what I decided to do. And by God's grace, I got into medical school and I can start on this journey. Yeah, it is a long journey, the next 10 years commitment, but I was just thinking, man, say I didn't go to medical school, 10 years from now, I'd probably be doing the same thing. Who knows what I would be doing, but I wouldn't be progressing in the way that I would want, and I would probably be living in regret. So anyways, those are the things that went into my mind and the thought process behind why I ended up deciding to go to medical school. I know that being a doctor is not for everybody, and a lot of people can make a lot of money doing other things. And obviously it's not about the money. It's personally about doing what you feel like you're supposed to do and what your vision and your dream for your life. And so anyways, this is mine, and I hope you guys kind of could see where I'm coming from. And I hope that helped answer the question of why I am going to medical school as a pharmacist. So anyways, thank you guys so much for listening. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Like this post so that other people can listen to it, and subscribe to stay in touch so we can travel along this journey together. Thank you guys so much.